Hello! No project this time. Today it's the Woodturners 10 questions. I've been nominated by John Clothier from the Woodworking Shed to answer the Woodturners 10 questions. Once you've been nominated, you make a video like this one answering the same 10 questions. It gives people a chance to get to know the woodturner a bit more and find out a little bit about what makes them tick. And it's surprising what bubbles up. Anyway, now it's my turn. At the end, I get to nominate the next woodturner and so on. Now, I'm a little late with this because I've been ill with the stomach bug that's been going round, and in my line of work it's unavoidable, but I have a bucket just in case. I've been quarantined in the spare room for 40 days, but I'm getting there, so I've just brought a little insurance policy with me just in case I'm sick on camera. Oh, sick on camera. Does that mean this video could go viral? Let's just do the questions.
1. When did you start wood turning and why?
Well, I'm very new to wood turning. I first turned a piece of wood around 7 months ago in July 2016. I've been working with wood ever since I was a kid. My dad bought me a little woodworking kit when I was about 9 or 10. And it had real tools, a little hammer and a screwdriver and a small saw, even a pump action drill. And I played with that all summer long, always out in the garden making things. And for me that was cool. Growing up in an industrial area of Lancashire, the school curriculum reflected this, and it was important to study woodwork and metalwork if you wanted to gain employment. And I took to these subjects no problem. So why did I start wood turning? Well, one of my other passions is bagpipes. I collect them, I play them, I've all the modern species of pipes there are in the UK, Highland pipes, small pipes, Northumbrian pipes, border pipes, and these things are not cheap. And I've been looking into sets of pipes which are no longer around but were popular 300 and 400 years ago. These pipes are really not cheap, and the waiting list is, well, long. So my mate Peter, you've seen him in some of the videos, was down helping one day. In fact, we were putting the roof on this workshop, and I'm telling him about these pipes, and he just said, well, make them. Medieval pipe technology would not have been challenging. He's an engineer, he talks like that. I don't see why you can't just buy a lathe and make them. That's a thought. So I did a bit of research on the old interweb, and for the price of one set of these pipes I could actually buy a good quality MIDI lathe and a few tools. So I thought, right, I was doing a gig in the Lake District a few days later, so I drove up early and called in at S&M Timber in Penrith to see these lathes in the flesh. Then I went on to do my gig. When I got home, I found I had well over £1,000 gone from my bank account. And when I opened up the back of the car, I found a lathe and some jaws and tools and finishes and wood blanks and thought, what's going on? How did that happen? So that's when and how I got started in wood turning.
2. How did you get started?
Slowly. I made a lot of very expensive firewood. It was practice. There were no wood turning clubs nearby, but one some distance away was holding an open day, so I went and paid them a visit. And these guys, once they saw you were serious, went out of their way to help. The day flew by and I came home physically and mentally exhausted. but that day showed me that my aim of making pipes was achievable, but it would take some time and it would be a steep learning curve. So going back to the internet, I found hundreds of helpful videos on wood turning. All these guys, which are too numerous to mention here, were giving their time freely to produce these YouTube videos to help newbies like us. Mike Waldt's beginners series taught me so much and really helped me get to grips with all the different tools and techniques. I've still got a long way to go, but I am so enjoying the journey.
3. What tools do you use the most?
Well, I use them all, but I keep coming back to the skew whenever I can because it's so versatile. You can rough out with it, plane cut with it, you can scrape with it, you can negative scrape with it, you can bead with it, you can even cut your carrots with it. It's not the easiest tool to tame, and one catch can ruin your work, but getting control of that skew opens up a lot of possibilities. I would imagine 3 or 4 centuries ago, a tool like the skew would have been the most popular tool used.
4. What finish do you prefer?
Wax. Oh yes, for me the wax. It still lets you feel the wood. Looking at a turned bowl or a platter or lidded box or whatever is just half the experience. Picking it up and feeling its shape is just a natural thing to do. So if you can feel the wood as well, that adds more to the sensory input. I like to try a technique of unsupported sanding. I did it on the Penguin a few videos ago. That's where you don't support the back of the cutting area of the sandpaper. So you get a slight undulation in the grain between the hard and the soft areas of the wood. This varies obviously on species of wood and difference between hardness of the growing periods, and it doesn't suit a lot of items, but it adds another subliminal layer to the piece, and with wax you can feel this. So for me it's wax. Over time the sheen does need a bit of a buff up, but wherever I can use wax, it's not the best thing for like utilitarian pieces I suppose, but for display pieces it's wax.
5. What would you like to achieve this year?
Well, I would say in the next 12 months, that gives me a bit longer, to have a rudimentary set of pipes up and playing. Every component made by me in this workshop, that would be the dog's doodahs. I'm still learning with the tools, and I'm still got a few pipe making based skills to learn yet, but a set of pipes before March 2018, that'll do me. Every March the 10th it's International Bagpipe Day, so to play a set of pipes depicted from the 1400s in here, that would be awesome.
6. What part of turning do you enjoy the most?
I love seeing that shape appearing out of a blank piece of wood. I don't work to strict measurements, I just let the wood tell me which direction to go. Many times it's the wrong direction and I have a lot of shavings for the bottom of the bird cage, but that's just not me listening right, I suppose. I just go with the flow and whatever feels right. For many years I've sort of worked in a logical and mathematical environment, and so you're working inside your head. So it's nice just to get that piece of wood and just go with the flow and see where it takes you. I mean, it's only a piece of wood.
7. What is the favourite piece you have turned?
Always has to be the last one I've done. I know everybody says that, so for me it's the last successful one I've done, because in each piece I try something new, a new skill, a new technique or a new method, which is all taking me to my ultimate goal of making a set of pipes. I still need to increase my skills a lot, so each piece is a bit of a challenge, and it's getting me there. But it's nice to see which pieces other people like as well, what their favourites are. And it's difficult to spot because some say, well, I like the bowl because of the decoration, or I like the penguin because he's cute. So it's nice to see what other people like as well, and that could help determine what direction I take in the future projects.
8. To colour or not to colour?
Colour? Colour? Oh, I feel faint. Oh no. For me, it's the beauty of the wood, the grain and the texture and the visual balance. Why go to great pains selecting and deciding how you're going to get the best out of a piece and then slap colour on it? I know some people say, but sycamore or lime wood is boring and bland. But you need bland and boring to complement exciting and interesting. They go together. If you make a sycamore bowl and it's boring, well, you've just not read the wood right, I suppose. I don't know. Throwing colour on it, mutton as lamb to me. And I know this is going to rile some people, and there are turners out there who use colour so well. Gary Lowe, Martin Saban-Smith, their work is phenomenal. I don't deny it. Their artistic flair is in a league of its own. If I was as good as them, I'd probably be doing it as well. But each to their own. Each to their own. For me, colour doesn't float my boat. Sorry, but that's just me. I think we better move on before I dig this hole any deeper.
9. Why did you start a YouTube channel?
That's easy. I just had to. Yeah, I was born near the middle of the last century, and before the internet and instant communication, if you wanted to research anything, your first port of call was the local library. Depending on your subject, there may have been a society or an association you could subscribe to, and then communication was telephone or more likely post. There may have been research papers in university libraries, so that was bus trips or train journeys, and well, it was a difficult and long job. With the internet, you can Google in 10 minutes what it would have taken you 10 months to do, and it's brought like-minded individuals together, and they've pooled the knowledge and the skills and the progress, and it's all available to anyone who has the nous to use it, so you've no excuse. The Woodturners on YouTube, for example, there's hundreds, near thousands around the world, in huge workshops, tiny workshops. It doesn't matter. Everyone has something to contribute to the global knowledge of the subject. You know, if you've got a subject, doesn't matter how obscure, if you go on the internet, someone somewhere on this planet will have a similar passion. And everyone does things different. And this is where ideas are born. Bringing all these ideas together and knowledge grows. And I just had to be in on that. I just had to be part of that. So that's why I've got a YouTube channel. People can watch it if they want. People can give it a thumbs up and subscribe, or they can just click thumbs down and just not bother. It's entirely up to them. But if I've got a little bit of information that someone finds useful, then that works for me.
10. What other hobbies do you enjoy?
Whoa, how long is a piece of string? I haven't had a TV in my home since 1996. I stopped watching other people's lives and started living my own. It's meant that I've been labelled as socially awkward by some people, I suppose, but I don't know who's sleeping with who in the latest episode of EastEnders, or who's done what to who in Coronation Street. But in the last 20 years, I have done so much and learnt so much and met so many interesting people, and I love it. You already know of my passion for pipes. I love playing these instruments, but each one has its own playing style and its culture that's wrapped around it. Early examples have become extinct, and we only know them through church carvings or engravings or illustrations dating back to the 8th century, and it's fascinating to know just what these instruments were like and how they sounded hundreds of years ago. So I have a passion for pipes. Another hobby from which I've derived a living for the last 11 years is origami, the art of paper folding. The rules are you can only fold the paper. No cutting, no gluing, and I love seeing how far you can push that piece of paper just by folding. I talk and lecture and run workshops on the discipline and travel all over the north part of this country. And it might be a bit nerdy, I suppose, but it's a cool feeling when you write on that census form as an occupation origami artist. Well, that's me. I'm done. I'm calling it a wrap. I didn't need my bucket. So now I have to nominate the next person to answer the Woodturners 10 questions. I had 3 people in mind. Mike Waldt. His tutorials were an inspiration to me. They gave me the encouragement to go out and get a lathe and get stuck in. There's so much information in those videos, you have to watch them several times to catch it all. They're very matter of fact, but that's what you need when you're learning. Another consideration was Jim Overton at Jimsons Stuff. His inlay work is awesome. What he can do with milliput is brilliant. And the pieces he produces just seem to have a nice natural balance and an artistic touch. And he explains what he's doing as he goes along as well, which is great. And the third, Keith Barrow, well, he's already done his 10 questions and that was fascinating. But I love Keith's let's have a go attitude, and he shows you everything, all the failures as well. And I think for learners that's great because it just shows everybody makes mistakes. And he also does reviews on his tools as well, which is quite refreshing because it's an honest opinion. It's not commercially sponsored. And he always seems to have an endless supply of coffee for some reason. So it's down to Mike or Jim. Well, I'm going to nominate both Mike Waldt and Jim Overton. I'll be sending you guys the list of 10 questions and I'll be waiting in anticipation to see what you have to say in your videos. I'm sure they're going to be interesting. I'm building up a playlist called 10 questions, so you'll find everyone who's done theirs, and if you've done a 10 question, do let me know and I'll add it to the list. Check the description below for links and more information, and I'll put end cards up at the end for Mike and Jim's channels, as well as John Clothier's Woodworking Shed, who nominated me. Thanks, John. Right, so that's it from me in the 8x6 workshop. Until next time, jobs are good 'un.